I'm here with Laine Sevante Wulkan, and she is going to talk to us about her re release of her wonderful children's book, Finn's Giant Leap. Hello, Savante. Lovely to be with you today.
Lovely to be with you. And I was raising my hands and I realized they disappeared with these magical backgrounds. Hi, everybody. Thank you for
Oh,
having me in this interview.
oh, it's wonderful to be with you and to hear all the exciting news about Finn, who is reemerging in a very brand new, exciting way after 10 years.
Yes, he's now hopping his hearts into many, many new families. And I couldn't be more excited. I think that certain books, all books, as you know, particularly as you know, how many books did you say? 218 or something amazing?
I just finished 214.
I did call you the spiritual Dr. Seuss. I will maintain that, by the way, as you are that. So it's an honor. But I think that Timothy, you have kind of seen this journey because we go back decades, seen the journey of Finn, and the the wisdom that this little frog has provided not only for the children, but for the reader, whether it's the caregiver, the parent, the grandparent, the aunt, the uncle. I think everybody receives these messages of how important it is for us to believe in ourselves first and foremost. And I think those messages he shares by being so curious himself and incorporating the hero's journey, this journey that just get this nudge that we have to pursue something, see something, make our mark in the world, to go explore it for ourselves. No matter what someone else tells us, if we're getting that calling, we have to go see it for ourselves, good or bad. And in this case, it could be good or bad. In the end, great. uh, and see it through the other side, and being a much better frog, a much better person, much better human being, and a more tapped into our divinity as a result.
Yeah, and I love how you mentioned the word curiosity, because for me it all starts with that curiosity, and having that curiosity, whether you're a little frog that's just been born, a little kitten, or a human being, and keeping that curiosity going and not locking into patterns.
So true. And not to get all philosophical, or maybe, but where does curiosity come from? Is that our intuition? Is that our soul? What parts of us are providing that curiosity? And I think that is a little bit of what's touched on in Finn's Giant Leap, and
Mm.
how we realize we can all, young or young at heart, access that part inside of us that's providing some pathways and guidelines to navigate life.
Yes, looking at everything as an adventure and wanting to share that adventure with others.
Yeah, and finding out, even in this story does touch on, some moments that are very common in this time period of life, a little bullying, and how, he come overcomes some adversities. And again, this was written before I realized, before the word bullying was such a topic. It was just, back then it was like, ridiculed, or you weren't the most popular kid in town, or frog in the,
In the pond.
in the lily pond lane. And I just feel that I don't even know where I was going with that. I was just so excited that that all made sense just now. But really, it touches on so many aspects to who we are. I remember one of my most favorite testimonials was from a woman who was 88. And here I'm like, oh, well, this is for, 2 to 3 year olds all the way. So 8 to 88. But she was saying how in her lifespan, being reminded through the eyes of this character, this beautiful Phineas, reminds her of all the messages that were the most important in her life. And it was just this whole long letter of gratitude for being able to read it, even though she wasn't the intended person originally, but how much she got out of it felt like everything for me. It's like, wow, because I didn't say, I'm going to write a children's book and it's going to be about this, that, and the other. It's this divine inspiration in this case. Woke up in the middle of the night and I hadn't even been writing. This really was my first foray into being an
Mm,
author. And I probably was more than 10 years ago, could be longer. And it was just, I heard my own intuition, which was write this down. And have always followed my intuition. I come from a very spiritual family and I've been raised in accessing my intuition at its best when I can kind of remove the worldly chaos.
mm.
And I did follow that and then that's what came out and it was just so great because that has always inspired me for so many other books and teachings. So I guess that holds a special place. And now to see it all these years later have a new emergence now with the technologies of being on Amazon and printing as on demand and all these things that make Finn be able to get to more people is fantastic. So now there's the ebook, there's the excuse me, there's the printed book, there's going to be an audio version coming out soon, and now I finally people have asked for it. We are in the development of his next adventure, and so I'm looking forward to bringing that into the world too. So probably in the next year is our hope, if not sooner. So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's so fun. When you mentioned about the bullying, it's like when we listen to our intuition and we start writing and we're just following it like you did, we end up, what I have found is in my writing is I end up putting things in there that are way ahead of their times. I have no idea why I'm putting it in there. It's just flowing out. And yeah, and it's for everybody. It's not for any age. It's for whatever touches that child inside of us. And I I found out that I did a Power Animal Frolics DVD dressed up in animal costumes doing tai chi and yoga and qigong for kids.
I
And
remember this. Yes.
I have had so many people tell me that their husband or their wife will not practice any qigong except to my animal frolics, and it's like, okay, that's cool.
Super cool. Yeah, right? I think when we can get out of our own way with any expectation and just like you said, just like I said, follow the guidance, not knowing where, what, how, and maybe not even knowing the why, just following that guidance to do and be and kind of surrender and set yourself free to wherever it goes. I mean, if you said to me 10, 15 years ago that I'd still be talking about Finn as if he was just, you know, a wee tadpole born yesterday, I would I would be like, I had no idea. But here he is, and now he just feels like in this time period on the planet, we need to have avenues for our beautiful future generations to know that positivity exists within, and if they ever have that moment they can just reach inside and he meets some friends along the way that help him get there to remind him how amazing he is already.
Yeah, and I'm glad you're getting the insight to do follow up stories using Finn because I think children get attached to a character and they'll
Mm,
keep following and they'll follow that character's development and be able to develop themselves as they follow their own character development. And
mm,
I've just found myself, I think I have 4 or 5 characters that I've done trilogies on, and it's just so much fun. And I never planned on writing any more than one, but all of a sudden the inspiration comes in and I'm doing trilogies or 4 stories using similar characters, and yeah, it allows children and adults to follow along the series with you and grow along as the writing grows and as the character develops. So I'm excited to see everything that's coming forth in Finn's life.
Me too. Thank you for this opportunity to share. I sit here too. It's like, okay, where's he hopping to next, and who is he going to meet along his way? So,
Well, I know
anyways, more
I
to come.
I know he's going to hop into the Children's Health Wealth Wisdom Summit where you're going to be speaking on August 28th, and I'm looking
Yes.
forward to hosting you there and how you share Finn and all the other ways and things that you have lined up to educate our young children.
Oh, I'm very excited and really thrilled to spend this time on August 28th in this arena and really talk about how important the message of positivity is, and how we can model it, we can be it, and how we can access it inside. And yes, I do a few other things. I look forward to sharing a little bit more about how food plays a role in our world, and what we eat makes a difference sometimes on our moods, and how we
Oh,
can
yes.
find our way in and out of certain situations by just choosing differently and choosing appropriately. So I go by the food oracle as well with my other projects, and that's a really wonderful, special place in my heart, is learning and teaching children at a young age to find out more what their body's asking of them and wanting them to have. You know, do they want the strawberries or the blueberries or the grapes? And so I'm really excited to be able to share that piece. I think is such an important part to have, but all of them. And I know kids love smoothies, and that's one of my favorite things to do, is to teach about smoothies and what to put in them.
Fun to make for children.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Indeed. And if they knew, they don't need to know what they mean, but if their parents know actually why their children are choosing certain colors or certain foods, wouldn't that be amazing to understand them on an even deeper way? Almost a
Yes.
subconscious understanding of, oh, they're really needing love, or oh, it looks like they're needing some extra support. And some of my teachings show how certain foods are providing those messages.
Yeah, I look back on my own childhood, and it was a standard American diet. It wasn't, and the first time I saw a salad was at one of my grandparents. I thought, what is this? My mom didn't make salads. But when I look back on my childhood and my Ayurvedic body composition, I chose as a child to eat what my pitta body needed without even knowing. I just gravitated. When I look at what those foods are now, I just looked at my body knew that I needed this type of food, and they were my favorites. So our
That's
children have
amazing.
that inner knowledge if we just let them develop it and pay attention to it. And yeah, boy, I could go on and on and on about
Well, you
families.
did get me super excited. I know that is a bit of a segue, but I'm finishing my Ayurvedic practitioner certification, and
Wow.
in yeah, kind of in between everything else, I'm secretly in school. But what was so interesting is, as I'm studying so many pieces that go deeper into Ayurveda, I realized that my intuitive teachings as the food oracle and the food healing oracle deck are so matched. When I talk in terms of the elements, and then we're talking in terms of doshas, how they're so in unison, it's just another confirmation on a kind of a much bigger scale for me of how everything is connected. So, anyways, we could talk about that on another interview.
Awesome.
Thank you for
Well,
having me here. Thank you.
I really thank you for being with me and sharing Finn and all of the other things that you're doing in your life that literally uplift the planet from kids from the womb all the way till they leave in
Thank you.
vibratory bliss.
It's what I'm here to do. This is who I
Mm,
am. Thank you for the
okay.
opportunity to share that.
Thank you, Lainey.
Welcome.